Welcome to my health talks. I hope that previous my two talks you have enjoyed it. I had a very good response from public. Tomorrow is the International Women's Day, and it is every year it is celebrated on 8th March. So on this prior to this Women's Day, I thought I will speak on women's health and wellness. Hope my talk is very useful to you. This year, 2021 theme of International Women's Day is Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID World. It's a fascinating story to know that why it is celebrated Women's Day on March 8th. There is a history behind it. In 1909, about 112 years back, Social Party of America arranged a women's march. About 15,000 women, they protested in New York streets for long hours of work, low pay and voting rights. But the credit goes to the Russian women because they were demanding the food shortage. Food shortage occurred because of World War I. Men were in battling field and women faced a lot of hurdles in their home. So they were protesting against food shortage, the government apathy, the voting rights. So therefore, in order to commemorate their successful rights and their protest, so 8th March of every year, we are celebrating the Women's Day. The missions of World Women's Federation is equality in sports, salary, workplace, women empowerment, educate women on health issues, which I'm doing today, and celebrate tech women with their innovations. My today's talk, I have divided into 5 subjects: women in scriptures, women and spiritual well-being, women and genetic inheritance, women, health and disease, where I am going to touch upon non-communicable disease like heart disease as well as the cancers. And last one being women and wellness. I'm going to speak about the diet and health issues. Coming to the first, my thing is women in scriptures. We call it as Mother India, Mother Earth, Mother Tongue. Amazing creation of God is women. According to our Hinduism as well as Abrahamic religion, God created women. So according to some Skanda Puranas, Parvati is considered as mother of universe. And Parvati created Brahma, gods and the 3 worlds. According to the Matsya Purana, Brahma created Shatarupa, the first woman in the world. So women as loving daughter, faithful wife, loving and caring mother, they are the fulcrum of family with physical, emotional support and bonding. Rig Veda declares that Devi Shakti, that is Ma Shakti, today is my talk. Devi Shakti as feminine energy and the essence of universe. So goddess Parvati, Durga, Chandrika and Kali Mata are known to fight against the adversaries. Lakshmi brings wealth and happiness. Saraswati brings knowledge. In our Hindu mutt, way back, many years back in our Udupi mutt, there was a ceremony which occurred because one of the Swamiji was assigned as the chief of the mutt. Do you know what happened? When he becomes the chief of a mutt, first thing he does is, after taking over, he prays Lord Krishna. That is, he bows to the God first. Then he bows to the mother. And spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being is one which creates a balance between the physical, the psychological, and the social well-being of human life. So spiritual health means living life full of meaning, purpose, and rich relationship with others. So coming to the very important aspect is the genetic inheritance. This is very important because what is the power of God? Power of God is represented as power of Ma Shakti. So we know that when we are born, we inherit 50% DNA from father, 50% DNA from mother. But there is one another scientific fact. We receive 100% mitochondrial DNA from mother's egg cell. So that means to say, what is mitochondria? Mitochondria is nothing but it is power of cells, and it produces ATP, which is nothing but the currency of biological system. Hence, therefore, what we receive our power in the body is from wholly from mother, 100% from mother's mitochondria. Therefore, mother is called Adi Shakti or Ma Shakti. Coming to the third part of my talk is women and health diseases. Health and diseases are also, women are prone, but some diseases are different and exclusive for them. And also there is some way of different, the same disease presents differently in women as well as when compared to men. So let me talk about that. First thing about my pet is the heart and the health. Heart health of women. God has protected women between 15 years to 45 years of age. That is their productive age, wherein which they menstruate every month and they produce estrogen. And this estrogen is a protective to the heart. Particularly, they will get a protection from heart diseases like heart attacks and blocks in the arteries, what we call it as atherosclerotic heart disease. But is this protection absolute? No, it is not absolute, because if during this period when they are menstruating, if they develop other risk factors like say for example diabetes, or if they have a family history, if they have cholesterol high, all these other risk factors are there, this protection is negated. So therefore they will have the same incidence of heart disease like others. However, but during this the productive age, why they are protected? Because the estrogen helps in removing the cholesterol by liver. So therefore, when the estrogen production is reduced after the menopause, they are equally prone for heart diseases like men. In fact, what happens is, once after the menopause, the incidence of heart disease increases suddenly in men because the protection has gone, and that reaches the men's level in women after the menopause. The other thing is that they will put on weight, that is, the weight increases after the menopause. The cholesterol also gets deranged. Therefore, they have the heart diseases are equal once the menopause is attained. But the other unusual presentation is we see a lot of heart attack patients. No? How do they different from the men? Yes, they different when the men presentation is, most of the men, they have a typical history of heart attack. Like the heart pain is exactly in the center of the heart, wherein which they get severe pain, which gets radiated to the hand, they get sweating. This is what the typical presentation of heart attack. They come to us very early. But in women's, what happens is, in women, presentation is very vague. They have vague symptoms like some fatigue, then tiredness, then giddiness, then sweating, all these things, which makes them to reach us very late. Because of that, the more myocardial, that is heart muscle, gets damaged, the late presentation causes more damage and more mortality. That is what is seen in women. And particularly when they go for some procedures like bypass surgery, the complication rates are also more. The presence of heart failure is more in women when compared to men. The other disease which is exclusive for them is the pregnancy-induced diabetes. Last talk I have briefed about it. The gestational diabetes, that is pregnancy-induced diabetes, most of the time the women become non-diabetic after their pregnancy is over. Very few percentage will continue to be diabetic. But however, there was a recent study which showed that even after the pregnancy, diabetes become normal, the sugar level become normal. When they are followed up for the next 5 to 10 years, they found that the 50% of them will develop a permanent diabetes. So therefore, a pregnant woman who has got some amount of high sugar in the pregnancy should also get followed up very clearly. Other things we find in women which is exclusive is the small vessel disease. Suppose if they come with chest pain, we do an angiogram. Most of the time, if angiogram is normal in them, they continue to have pain despite the angiogram being normal because they have small vessel disease. That is called as microvascular angina. Important thing is emotional and the stress. The stress and emotion will cause what is called as broken heart syndrome, which I dealt with in my last talk. The increased mental stress, depression, which is common in women compared to men. And menopause and pregnancy complications are exclusive for them. And also, there are some diseases like thyroid disease, which is higher incidence in women compared to men. And also the inflammatory diseases like lupus or rheumatoid arthritis are also increased incidence in women. And rheumatic heart disease, where we call the wall diseases, which occurs, the wall stenosis, are also increased in women. They have another very rare complication after the pregnancy, which we call it as peripartum cardiomyopathy. That means during the last month of pregnancy or first 5 months after postpartum, that is after the delivery, somehow for some reason their heart, not all, some of them will go for what is called heart failure like situation, which are treated. And there are some diseases like deep vein thrombosis, what we call it as the clots which occur in the lower leg veins can dislodge from there and go to the heart. Through the heart, it can go to the lung vessels, which we call it as pulmonary embolism. This DVT, deep vein thrombosis, is very common, or what we can say the incidence is high in women because of it can be associated with pregnancy, and even the oral contraceptive tablets which they take, or even if they take the HRT, what we call it as the replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy, obesity. These are all some of the conditions where they are prone for DVT and pulmonary embolism. The dreaded most complication after the pregnancy, which they can get it is, which is very rare, is amniotic fluid embolism. So therefore, these are all some of the heart diseases which can be present in women, exclusively for women, as well as the incidence is high in them. Let's come to another major problem is the cancers. As you know, every day, as the heart disease is increasing, like the incidence of cancer is also increasing. Probably more detection is happening. So I like to highlight today about the malignancies in women in India. Before I go to that, there is a center called MD Anderson Center at Houston, Texas in USA, which is considered as the mecca of cancer therapies. So they are the people who give the guidelines to us. And they have given the 10 cancer symptoms the women should not ignore. Very important, 10 cancer symptoms they should not ignore. Of course, hearing these symptoms, everybody, you should not get scared, because these symptoms can be there in non-cancer therapy, non-cancer situation also. For example, first symptom will be the abnormal vaginal bleeding. So if there's a vaginal bleeding abnormal, which is called non-period bleeding, one should be careful. Vaginal discharge, which particularly colored with blood, breast changes, bowel changes like alternative constipation and diarrhea, unexplained weight loss. This is also important because the unexplained weight loss also induces some amount of anxiety in people to find out what is the reason. Constant fatigue, night sweats, pain in the abdomen, pelvic region, loss of appetite. So these are all some of the symptoms. It can be there in non-malignant condition also, but if anybody is having this type of symptom, it is better to get checked by the doctors. Now, coming to the most important malignancies which we come across in India is carcinoma breast. Breast malignancies has to be taken very seriously, because if we detect early, it is 100% curable. For example, among all the malignancies in India, Almost one third of malignancies are attributed to breast. About 27% of all women carcinomas is breast cancer. In India, the incidence is about 30 per 1 lakh population per year. And basically, there are some risk factors. About CA breast, what I want to tell you about the risk factors and how to early detection. These two are very important. What are the risk factors? The first risk factor is the genes. As you know that there are specific genes called BRCA1 as well as BRCA2 mutations. These genes are known to, if they are inherited, we have to take it very seriously because the very high incidence of carcinoma breast in these mutations of BRCA1 and BRCA2. You may be knowing the most famous Hollywood actress Angelina Jolie, who had carried this BRCA1 and 2 mutations because her mother had repeat twice cancer breast, and she had cancer ovary, and her grandmother also had CA breast. And because of she carried these two BRCA1 and 2 mutations, she underwent a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy. Both the breasts she got removed, as well as both ovaries and the tubes, or salpingo-oophorectomy, what we call it as. She underwent as a prophylactic. Without disease, she removed it because she will be prone for higher incidence of this cancer. Therefore, identifying the genes are very important. Therefore, what I suggest is that if there is in a family there is a breast cancer or ovarian cancer, history is there, it is better to get gene identification, which will prevent the further complication in future. Other risk factors are the age more than 60, then first child, if it is above the age of 35 years, it is a risk factor, not that absolute, but it's a relative risk factor. And having no children, or if there are children also, but no breastfeeding, menarche less than 12 years, and menopause more than 55 years. These are all some of the risk factors for carcinoma breast. Now, how to identify it? As I told you beginning, early detection will help us to detect and 100% cure it. Now, what is the early detection can be? Early detection is self-examination. Very important because every day or very often, particularly when taking bath, we can, the women should examine their own breast, palpate their breast, and find out any self-examination will help us. Suppose if they have a symptoms or signs, following signs, they should consult the doctor. For example, if they find a lump in the breast, or if the nipple changes in its character, or there are discharges from nipple, then if there is a swollen breast, hard breast, the breast skin is dimpling, like a orange peel off like colored, and also you try to put your hand into armpit, axilla, as well as neck, and if there is a lump in that, it shows that there is a lymph node enlargement. So this is a daily examination. Self-examination is considered the best way of tackling the early detection of cancer. In this regard, I want to highlight about 10 days back, there was a journal article from the British Medical Journal. A beautiful article has come from Tata Memorial Study. The Tata Memorial Hospital, which is the best hospital and the leading hospital of India, present in Mumbai, has done a 20 years follow-up of almost 75,000 women. And what they did is they trained some SSLC graduates, SLC trained girls, and they trained them how to examine the breasts, and they sent these girls to different houses as well as slum areas, and made a study, and they kept on visiting them almost 6 to 8 times, and they found out that by doing this study, identifying very early the lump, they have reduced the death rate by 30%, which is extremely very good scientific significant statistically. They also could reduce the deaths by 15,000 deaths in a year can be reduced by this study, which showed that. So how simple it is. The breast examination by self will help us to identify the disease very early. And in fact, they found that in Mumbai, the incidence of breast cancer has gone up by 40% from 1992 onwards till today. So therefore, this study has helped us to say that, yes, the breast examination is the most important examination for early detection. The second thing is that an ultrasound. Suppose if you find that there's a lump or any of those changes which I told, if you have a doubt, you consult a doctor. We'll do what is called simple ultrasound, which is very safe. And ultrasound will detect what is this lump, because all lump in breast is not malignancy. It can be benign also. It need not be malignant. So therefore, ultrasound will give us a very good idea. And some of the patients will also undergo what is called as mammography. Mammography can also detect the cancer carcinoma very early. Now, coming to the preventive aspects, very important. The preventive aspect is, see, obesity is very important for us not to gain weight, particularly post-menopausal. Post-pregnancy, weight gain is very known in women. So, because what happens is there is a androstenedione is the one which is secreted by ovaries and adrenal glands in women. And this androstenedione is converted to estrogen by an enzyme called aromatase. This aromatase enzyme is in the peripheral fatty tissue. So therefore, when you have more fatty tissue, that means obesity, more tissue in the body, more androstenedione gets converted to estrogen. Therefore, hyperestrogen levels will cause where there will be increased incidence of carcinoma breast. Therefore, optimizing the weight, keeping your weight checked, reducing the obesity, and eating a good food like low-fat diet, increased fruits, increased vegetables will help in lifestyle modification will help in reducing the incidence of breast diseases, particularly cancer. Now, we'll go to the next one is the carcinoma cervix. So this is also a dreaded disease. It almost about 22% of all the malignancies in women in India it constitutes. But here what happens is it is actually present more in rural women than urban women with a low socioeconomic group and poor nutrition, low immunity. It is very common with more sexual transmitted diseases. It's a HPV virus, which is nothing but sexually transmitted virus. The risk factors are that the sex at very early age, pregnancy before age of 17, multiple sexual partners, tobacco consumption, low immunity. These are all some of the risk factors for carcinoma cervix. So carcinoma cervix, the symptoms will be like vaginal discharge, pain during sexual intercourse, and abnormal vaginal bleeding. These are all some of the symptoms of carcinoma cervix. And how do we prevent it? Prevention is by actually following the safe sex protocols and practicing safe sex, using condoms, and not to use oral contraceptives for long term, particularly after the age of 35 years. And pap smear should be done regularly to identify the cervix. And of course, we can also vaccinate them. The human papilloma virus, that is called HPV, vaccines can be used. Usually it is given in the early age, up to 45 years. Usually the CDC, USA CDC recommends below the age of 12 to 13 years to give the vaccination. Now coming to the third one is a carcinoma ovary. This carcinoma ovary is slightly rare, but it is very fatal because it is very difficult to treat. And it's because it gets unnoticed, undetected for a long time because it spreads very fast within the abdomen. And it has no specific symptoms. It has only non-specific symptoms. Particularly the risk factors for carcinoma ovary are family history of cancer, which I have already highlighted. Those who have never conceived, or it is also peaks around 65 to 75 years of age. And those who have repeated endometriosis or fertility hormone medications, obesity, these are all some of the risk factors for carcinoma ovary. But how to detect it? Detection is only by transvaginal ultrasonography, but it is not when we have some suspicion only we do it. Otherwise also we do what is called blood CA125 level. That also will help us for identifying the carcinoma ovary. Now, coming to the last part of my talk is women and wellness. Of course, my talk have dealt in detail about the lifestyle modification. Particularly for wellness, the optimal weight is very important. For that, we have to strategize our exercise protocol. Diet should be very good diet, because you know that to reduce weight, only exercise will not help, because it has been shown that 80% diet and 20% exercise to reduce weight. So therefore, diet is very important. Please try to modify your diet, whatever you are eating. That will also reduce your weight. The other one is because post-delivery and post-menopause, gain of weight is common in women. So therefore, particularly the exercise protocol, which I have already highlighted, mental stress, meditation, yoga will help. So these are all the things which we have to follow. Now, what are the regular checkups? Yes, women should do regular checkups, or like one blood which we do routinely. But routine blood test will include sugar, then cholesterol, then 3 months average sugar, what we call it as glycated hemoglobin. Thyroid function test is important because thyroid abnormalities are common in women, and hemoglobin, cholesterol, all this thing has to be done. And if you have a cardiac symptoms, if you have a doubt as a cardiologist, I will subject you for an ECG echo treadmill. And breast examination, which I have already told, and breast ultrasound is one very important. Mammography is indicated selectively, and pap smear is done also regularly, and genetic study, which I have highlighted already. So to conclude my talk, I can say God cannot be present everywhere. Therefore, He created mother in front of us. Women have tender heart, full of emotions, higher resilience, stronger mind, and amazing capacity to sustain societal pressures. Hence, we should protect them, treat them equally, make them independent financially, educate them the highest, and respect them the most. So I like to thank my classmate gynec friend, Dr. Mallika, for her inputs to my today's talk. I hope my talk is very useful to you today. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and please wait for my next interesting talk next month. Thank you so much. Bye.